Okay guys, so we are back with our Xmaxx, and you see we've got the behemoth, the Max 5 ESC with our 800 kV motor. See a little bit of videos here. It's an absolute handful. Yes, please don't look at the wiring too closely. I've got to tidy it up. That's one of the other jobs. But what I want to do today, just to check on diffs on it. So we're going to have all of the diffs out of it. We're going to take out the front, the rear and the centre as well. Now, I'm sure you guys have already seen how to do that. It's not particularly difficult removing the diffs out of these. It's pretty straightforward. So I'll just do a quick time lapse on removing the diffs. But I will show you what the actual condition of the diffs is like. This truck we've had about 6 to 9 months. It's had some pretty hard wear. And as I say, we've now got this monster motor in it. So we want to check on the transmission and see what it's like. So let's go ahead and get these diffs out and see what they are like. So remove 5 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just bend that down. And then our case should come off to reveal either a greasy mess or a nice looking diff. Let's have a look, see what we got. Well, the gears don't look too bad, do they? What does it feel like? It feels very loose, doesn't feel like there's a lot of oil in there. So that's the front diff, we'll put that to one side and let's get the other ones out. So the rear diff comes off pretty much in the same way. We've just got to remove all this gubbins here, the wheelie bar and the rear bumper, just to make it easy to actually get to everything. Always amazes me, this whole assembly is only held on by 4 bolts. Both of these bits come off, just 4 bolts. There's 2 bolts now out from underneath there. And if you find these are encaked with mud and dirt, just get a little scalpel. Just got a little Stanley knife blade here and just pick out that dirt before you try and put your driver in there. So then we've got those 5 bolts again, same as the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that will then come out. Whew, guys, that was a relief. Oh, I thought we'd rounded off the head of a bolt, and we had, but little tip, get a slightly larger. This is actually a Torx bit. Hammered it on there, and we managed to get it out. We didn't have to drill it out, which is good, because I didn't want to have to do that. Now, let's see what this diff looks like. What's the diff like? Gears on that look pretty good. What's the action like? Again, it feels to me, it feels very loose. You shouldn't really be able to turn it that easily. So we'll put that to one side. Obviously, don't get your gears mixed up because they are, I think they are the same, aren't they? Yeah, they're the same. So that's my front, that's my back. So I'm not going to get them mixed up. We will strip them down. Now we're going to get to the centre diff. Now, I've never had one of these out of an Xmaxx before. Somewhere down here, I think, isn't it? Oh, I think I'm going to take the motor out. Oh, well, let's see. Let's see what we actually got to do. Right, guys, so what I've done, took 2 screws out there and there. There's also 2 screws there and there. And the screw there, which you obviously need to then take out the other side ones as well. And I'm hoping, I've unplugged the motor, because I'm hoping I haven't got to remove the motor. Turn it over. There we go. So I have tried to clean it, but look at all the dust that's still, or the dirt and sand that's still coming out. Then you've got, what have I took? That screw out, and obviously I then took this bottom brace off, and now I'm hoping, with a little bit of gentle persuasion, this rear end may now slide. Oh, there we go. It's off. Car's in bits. There is it's fallen to bits completely. There is our rear end. Right, guys, so you ready how I got the centre diff out without having to take the motor out? Yay! Right, so first of all, I removed the top links here because I'm going to remove all this bit here. Just pull them out. There's 2 screws in there to undo as well. They pull off. What I've also done, you can see there, I've already removed the shock bolt, or the little nut bolt that holds that out, and then there's a pin that pushes out of there, so that then comes off. Then this, the whole shock part will come off like so. I then have just 1 screw left to remove. You remove these 4 from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That then comes off. I've got this remaining screw just in here. I have had to remove the pinion, already loosened that off. My Vitavon shaft then comes out with that bearing support on there. Then this whole top part, actually you need to slide the diff cover off first. Then basically this whole part here should come away like so. And there is our centre diff, or whatever they call it. Right, so we're going to start with the front diff. The rear diff is exactly the same, so I'll only do a tear down of one. I'll just show you perhaps the condition of them both. First things first, you've got a little hex head bolt in there. What is it, 2.5mm? You need to be able to undo that. It might be rather tight. You might need to put something into the drive cup there to be able to hold it. Imagine lift hold like that. Both sides off. Check the bearings. And that one feels a little smooth but a little tight. This one loose, perhaps a little graunchy, so I think I've got plenty of bearings, so we might just chuck new bearings on for the sake of a few quid. Then it's a case of undoing these 4 bolts. Moment of truth. What are we going to find in here? Are we going to find much? Well, as ever, good old Traxxas. Not a lot of oil in there, is there? I mean, they all look in quite nice condition, but this cross pins, I'd like to see the oil covering the cross pins. So give it a good degrease now and we'll do a rebuild. So guys, exactly the same process with our rear diff. How much oil's in here? What have Traxxas put in here? There's none in there. Well, if there was any in there ain't any in there now, is there? And there wasn't any sign of any leakage coming out, because it would only leak around... Well, you can't tell with the grease, can you? That's rubbish. Absolute rubbish. I mean, that's just not going to do any good at all, is it? So, right, degrease this, and then we'll get on to rebuilding the diffs. So, guys, onto the centre diff. How much oil do you reckon to put in this? Bearings off. So, slightly different to the diff in the front and rear. It's not a bevel gear, this is a straight cut gear, so we'll just whiz these 4 bolts off. See what we've got inside. So, how easy is it going to come to bits? Oh. Ha! Well. There isn't anything in there at all, is there? Well, you can see what's come out of there. We're going to give this... Well, it doesn't really even need a grease because this oil is so thick in here. I don't know if it's dried up or whether they've put anything in there. Whether they previously put earplugs in there, I really don't know. But we'll give it a clean and then see what we do. I wonder if this might need some parts in it. But let's get it clean and see what we've got. So, guys, here is our front or rear diff. All like that. They're exactly the same. Make sure you don't mix and match your parts if you're reusing. We're going to put 10k in the front, which is standard, and 30k in the rear. This is the front that I'm building up. So step number 1 is put the blue rubber seals into here. Now make sure you didn't degrease these, because you don't want them, you don't want to degrease those. There's a little fibre washer which goes on the back of there, and I'm just going to put a small amount of oil on the back of this just to help it seat itself. In there like that. Turn it round. There'll be a little bit of a tight fit. You'll feel that go in. Just turn that round. That's that bit done. Pretty much got to do the same step with the diff casing. This is plastic, obviously. Again, washer on there. A little bit of this oil on there. Just helps it, just lubricates it a little bit. And then we push that into there. Now the next step I'm actually going to put the drive outputs on. So check already. Make sure you put the bearings on here, because in a minute you'll if you don't put the bearings on, you've got to take these back off again. All check the bearings, they all feel okay. So then you have your diff outputs. They just slip on there like that and like that. And then you have, what are these? These are 2.5mm head bolts in each of there. Don't forget to put a bit of thread lock on there so they don't come undone. So there we go, we've just done them up. Don't forget, if there's grease on the part that you're thread locking, it won't work. So you need to make sure you degrease it. And you actually should leave thread lock about 24 hours to go off properly. So just bear that in mind if you can. So we've got those, see the gears are in there now. Now it's a case, so I never remember, are these called the planetary or the sun gears? I'm not sure. So you've got the smaller gears to go on here now. Basically, you've got 2 cross pins here. You need to make sure that you see there's a flat on there. They basically go together so they're in the same orientation, so they're in the same plane, otherwise it won't work. So you then put 1 gear on there with this little bearing, or it's like a sleeve which acts as a bearing, and that goes on there. This is a little bit fiddly. I don't know if I'll be able to show you this on camera. You've got 1 there. So that goes together like that, and you've got to slot it into the black housing here. Yes, it's fallen to bits, but that will go in now. There we go, it's in there. Just make sure that's all lined up properly. There we go, got that all lined up. You can now turn your output, and you can see that all goes through. Does it feel smooth? That actually feels really nice and smooth. I'm going to put on it's like a rubber gasket on here, and then we're going to fill it with oil. Now, how much oil do I put in here? I always get asked that. Well, simple. Fill those cross pins. Sorry, a level with the top of the cross pins. The thicker the oil, the harder this is to do accurately. You need to let it settle. So we'll put a little bit in there like that. We'll work it round. Okay, you probably can't see this too well on camera. We'll work that round. Make sure it gets in all these gaps down here. I mean, if you want to, you can then leave this for a few minutes. In fact, we'll do that. Let's leave that for a few minutes and see what sort of level we've got. So you want it to just cover those cross pins. So there we go. We've just let that settle for a little while. It's possibly a fraction high, but I'm not going to worry about that. As long as it's not always stupidly high like up to the top of this diff case, because when this gear's got to find space now, we just won't seat in there properly. So that's fine. I'm happy with that. Too little and you won't have any action. Too much, as they put too much, you actually blow the diff. So this just sits on top of here. Need to line up those screw holes. Before I even put the screws in, I'll just feel that diff action. That feels quite nice. No tight spots. And then it's just a case of putting on these bolts. And I realise, in fact, what I should have done, I should have put this diff half on, or the output on later after I've done this, because there's a bit of a tight squeeze getting these bolts onto there, but I think we can get them down. So there we go, all tightened down. Just tighten this in a cross pattern to start with. Don't need to be over tight, don't crank them up really tight, just nice and tight. Feel that motion. If you've got a tight spot, you've not built the diff up correctly. That feels nice and smooth. It's definitely tighter than it was before, and you can see the state of what this diff was before, and here is after. There we go, guys. There's 2 nice shiny rebuilt diffs, front and rear. Yeah, I think it's the right way around. Basically done this in about a day, leaving stuff to degrease. Now, can't do the rear at the centre at the moment because I'm waiting on parts. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the front in at least. So I've got less parts laying about on the bench. As you can see, we have stuff everywhere. But I'm sure you don't need me showing you how to put it back in. Basically, it's just a reverse of taking it out. So if you get stuck, just go back to the beginning of the video and look at how you took it to bits. So it's pretty straightforward. Right, guys, we've finally got our new parts turned up. Bit of a calamity on this, really. I thought these. If you saw when I opened up the diff, some blue bits came out. It was actually one of these that disintegrated. So we ordered one of these kits, which you get all the fixings, seals, and even a new housing. Didn't need a new housing. Thought I was going to put it back together, but the original gear, you can see that shoulder there. God knows where that's gone. It's just basically worn away. And that sits in there, which holds these bearings for the planetary and sun gears. So we had to order another one of them. Had to wait a week. So we've been waiting for all this to arrive. But here we go. We can now get it back together. We're going to put the 20 million weight oil in the middle. But I've got some lighter oil here, and I'll show you why in a minute, which is one of the reasons why I think we had problems with these parts. It was a factory built, so I don't know what they do at the factory, but watch on, see what we're going to do. So with the centre diff, you have these metal washers which have to go on here first. But what I'm actually going to do, I'm just going to use some of this lighter oil on here just to help lubricate these bits up. And particularly that blue seal, because I think what was happening was that was just getting so dry because you have such heavy oil in the middle here, you know, it doesn't get round. So I'm going to actually put a reasonable amount of oil on there. Yeah, it's going everywhere, isn't it? It's the fun of building diffs up. Like that, plenty of oil on there, and then I'm going to just push it into a centre diff like that, and that will then turn round, feel like that's going round. And then we'll do the same on here. Just push that gear into there. Right guys, so we have put them together, plenty of oil in behind those gears. So now it's just a case of assembling these. It's the same process as what we've done on the other diffs. Just make sure you get those cross pins in the right orientation. And then it's just a case of putting the gears on. You've got slightly different, the metal bearings are slightly different. So they go on there with the point facing, was it upwards? No, downwards, sorry, downwards. That paint points downwards, and then the groove facing outwards. Oh, and then this assembly, when you get it together, it goes in there like that. There we go, all in there, sitting all nice and flush in there. Now we've got to put, well, they call it oil, but this stuff is so thick, it's more like a, well, it's more like a paste, isn't it? You know, normally oil you can tip in. Can't tip that in. Again, how much we're going to put in? We're going to fill it to the top of those cross pins, and it will take a bit longer to do this because you need it to settle a bit more. So we'll somehow get that in there, like that. And I've put the blue gasket on, just a case now of sealing this up. Line up those pins and screw holes and the likes, and then just put the 4 screws in. We've got some new ones, so we'll use them, and job's a good one. There's our completed centre torque vectoring thing, whatever Traxxas call it, centre diff, innit? That's all it is. Done. All we've got to do now is put it back together. So we've got to transfer all of this into this. Look at that, all back together. Yeah, got to put the wheels on, shell on. Let's get them on. Let's take it out for another rip and see if we can tame the beast. Let's see if I can keep up with the standard truck. Ready? Yep. 3, 2, 1, go! Wheelies easily. Oh, still wheelies easily. Oh,
give you some room, I think.
Inside.
I'll give you some room. Cut back.
Oh, there's some big bumps over there.
Here's where we'll get him.
Oh, damn.
On the hairpin.
Need a bit more brake.
Oh.
I need a bit more brake.
That's poor driving for me.
I tried to flick it into there.
Oh, I'm not exactly doing the standard any favours. Now I need a clean lap. Come on.
I don't like this fast bottom corner. Oh, well, we'll get that cone as well. Oh, come on. Here we go. Ready? Down the straight. We're gonna.
Sorry.
Oh, bars out of the way.
Come and catch me if you can. That's it.
Oh, he's got me now.
Go round the actual coast still. Oh.
There was a blue truck in the way.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, these are
nice.
so cumbersome.
Well, that was a little bit closer than I thought it might be, in fairness.
3, 2, 1, go! Oh, we've got plenty of... Oh, look at that. Oh, nice turn into the hairpin.
Ah, don't give me any room. Come on now.
Get out of the way! Oh, he still crashed into me. Come on, get those front wheels on the ground. Oh, it's a nasty bounce. Right, here we go, down the straight. Oh, come on. Oh, the cone got in the way. It wasn't anything to do with bad driving at all. Oh, I was a little bit worried about crashing into the other pilot.
I think that's a foregone conclusion now. Oh, wait.
The diff rebuilds made a massive difference. Much less diffing out, and we've still got that massive monster horsepower motor in this, the Hobbywing motor. So the diff rebuild was a no-brainer. As you can see, there wasn't a lot of oil in some of the diffs as well. It all held together well. Yeah, we might have lost the wheel towards the end, but that was just me, poor maintenance. So, hope you liked that video. Click on that subscribe button. More videos coming soon.